How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? We're bringing out the war hat. A war hat that I wore during when I was playing Sniper Elite 5 on the PlayStation 4. It just so happens it was this hat right here. And yes, this is a United States Army hat. I have family members that were in the service. I am not, on the other hand, but I have family members that served. I have family members that served in the United States Air Force, Vietnam, Korea, and then I believe my uncle was a drill sergeant for the United States Army and stuff. So I got family members that have served in the military. And this also goes out to all of the other veterans that fought in World War II and stuff. So this is going to be the hat that we're going to be using for this, because that's what we used on PlayStation 4. So yeah. Just to let you know that I take my gaming very seriously when it comes to Sniper Elite 5, so I'm looking forward to playing it. We have 21 minutes left and counting down. The game is halfway downloaded, so we have, like I said, we have 21 minutes to go. Be aware of the broadcast, like I said. What I said in there is actually true, because if you look, so it takes place in 1944 in France. So we have everything from SS Germans. We have everything. We have SS Germans, snipers. We also have infantry, and then the Jager Germans, along with Panzerkampfwagen tanks, and then Tiger tanks. And also along with clearing out bunkers, doing missions, taking missions and taking also out special people as well. Basically putting hits on them. So, let me read you the back of it. So it says France, 1944. The award-winning series returns as Carl Fairburn fights to uncover Project Kraken in Nazi-occupied France. During World War II, Sniper Elite 5 offers unparalleled sniping, tactical third-person combat, and an enhanced kill cam, which is one of my favorites about this game. Fight your way across the immersive maps, yet with many real-world locations captured in stunning details. So it also says tackle an expansive campaign, either solo or online co-op, which means we can play as friends, which I got some friends that I have in mind to play. Enhanced kill cams, advanced gunplay physics, and high caliber weapon customizations. An intense, versatile adversarial, I think is how you pronounce it, I don't know. Multiplayer, invasion, and co-op survival modes. And along with that, it's also rated M. Two out of 16 network players, PlayStation Plus required. Okay, we're not going to worry about that. We might have to get that renewed and stuff. So yeah, here's the back and the front. Okay. But like I said, there probably will be cussing of me calling them German BASTARDS, because I know you guys don't like me calling them that. There will be stressful moments, cussing, swearing, the works. There will also be a lot of blood, a lot of gruesome fighting, combat, like I said, because that's what it says in the game. Pretty good medical areas as well. So there'll be like skeletal system. You can see the skeletal system, the respiratory system, like where the lungs are, the liver, the brain, the whole 9-yard shebang. So also, we also have different intel we can also collect in the game, which is also something we're going to be doing as well. Collecting different weapons and also pausing to explain some things. And I'll explain it when the game is fully downloaded and we start the broadcast. That's going to be immediately the first thing I always do, because with the other one, Mafia Trilogy, I said there's going to be some racial slurs, because it's, because the player you play as is African American. So yeah, there's going to be some slurs and stuff like that, and some not very nice things. So in this one, it's more of like medical, kind of. When the bullet enters the body, it's more of like a medical kind of term. So doctors are probably going to think this is really cool. History teachers are probably going to think this is cool too, as well. Our goal is to clear out every single map of Germans. So that means our goal is to eradicate all of the Germans on the map. We have done it before on PlayStation 4. That includes the War Factory and ranking back up to the Shadow Sniper and stuff, and also getting, like I said, all of the intel as much as we can. I know exactly where all of the snipers are going to be at, so that's really good to know. That's a good point as well. Because a lot of the German snipers in the game will have a flashlight. So if they're looking out the window towards you, you're going to see a flashlight. So, and I'll point it out in the video when we come across a German sniper and stuff. And there'll be, people that are going to stress me out and everything in the game, like I said. So just an FYI, you're probably, if you're a veteran, I'm sorry if this gives you PTSD and flashbacks. I'm sorry. I thank you for your service. I really do. And stuff and everything. Like I said, doctors might think it's pretty cool. History teachers, if you want to show your students it, you're more than welcome to. That's honestly a really big honor. To show them history lessons and all that stuff. And I'll point it out and stuff like that, like history lessons and stuff like that, as much as I can. And everything. And we'll point out like stuff and everything, like the outfits of the Germans and stuff like that. Some of them I can actually identify pretty good, because like I said, in real life, I'm going to tell you guys something that I probably never told you guys. I had a great grandmother that originally came over from Germany and was a German immigrant. My grandpa is also German. His mom and dad were also German. I am also part German, Dutch, and English. So there's also those. So if you hear me calling them Nazi, the word, just let you guys know, you guys heard something from me that I admitted to. And that means letting you guys know that I am part German, so I do have the right to say those. And that goes to YouTube as well. I have the right to say those because I am part German. And my great grandmother was also a German immigrant that came over to America and stuff. Just an FYI. Not trying to insult anybody that's from Germany or anything like that, or anything like that and everything. It's here only for history purposes and to have fun. But like I said, if you don't like watching the broadcast, you can leave. I'm not going to force you to watch it. If you see something that you don't like, point it out and I'll explain it. And I'll tell you why and everything. But I don't want any negativity or because the last time I played it, I got so much hatred from it. Like, people in YouTube were like restricting it because even though it said on the title for historical purposes only, and one of them was one of the, I can't remember I think it was France or something like that. There was a German imperial that was a really high-ranking German official. He actually did a speech which was actually pretty interesting, and he was talking in German and then he did the Heil Hitler thing. That was actually for historical purposes only. That was not to offend anybody. That was, I know, trust me, I am well aware that, they did bad things. I'm well aware, trust me. And yeah. But if you're curious what they've done, I can tell you. There was an angel of death that was known to experiment on kids, on Jewish kids. When you were if you were Jewish in the 40s, you were either sent, so there would be a German that would stand right here, and he would point either this way or that way. If you went this way, you got hard labor. If you went this way, you got sent right to the gas chamber. No matter the age, no matter what. If you were sick, you were just immediately eradicated. There were Jewish people that were starved to death. There was people they just weren't treated really well. Nothing was ever clean. Everything was corrupt. And when you pretty much were left with pretty much nothing. If you passed away, your stuff would not get sent back to a family member. It would be theirs, and they would keep it. After the war, Germans fled the people, or at least the Germans that were basically fleeing. They fled either to Argentina or Brazil or something like that to escape the death penalty. Because they knew, what they did was incredibly wrong. So most of them got away with it and hid so much treasure and so much loot that they stole off of Jewish people, and that includes Jewish people, gypsies, which I don't know a lot about. I know that they're Jewish as well. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, there was a lot of people that were experimented on. They were not treated at all terribly. They were just treated, they basically would arrive in cattle train cars. And unfortunately, not a lot of them made it out. Almost 1,000, I think, or almost more than that, died in the hands of German soldiers. So, if you kind of think about it, I'm kind of doing, and the leader of it was Adolf Hitler actually was a really not so fan of the Jewish people. So he had multiple concentration camps that were built because of that. But like I said, it's not to offend anybody. It's history lessons, and pretty much that's it. You might see some funny moments and everything. Like that one time a German infantry soldier stepped on a mine and blew up, which was actually kind of funny. he didn't bother looking down and didn't see the explosive that I planted. It took a while, but he did eventually hit it. Silent takedowns are probably going to be a really good thing with the knife, because that's usually what I do. Sniper mode is probably going to be the coolest, because like I said, I always have the bullet camera set on high so that it always happens. So and that even goes with the pistol and the rifle. So just FYI, that's what to look out for. That's what to be expected, and that's a little bit of history on Germany in the 40s. Eventually, America did do some amazing things. We freed a lot of the people that were still barely alive, and we absolutely obliterated Auschwitz. And a Volkswagen, here's a known fact. So actually, here's a couple known facts actually. So originally, Volkswagen was actually part of the Third Reich of Germany, of the Nazis. They were Adolf Hitler originally was I believe was the creator of the first ever Volkswagen. So people say that it was made in the 60s. That actually wasn't. It was actually made in the 40s. Originally, Adolf Hitler was actually the very first person, because that was actually one of the cars that he wanted. So eventually he made blueprints to have a factory built for Volkswagen vehicles. And if you also think about it, during the war, Coca-Cola was a really big soda company that was like phenomenal with every soldier. You probably remember drinking it as a kid, or growing up or being in the war and drinking it. Well, here's a fascinating fact. Coca-Cola, so German soldiers were actually a really big fan of Coca-Cola, but they wanted it to come over there so they could have some. But apparently, Coca-Cola said, no, you don't get that. So they had to come up with their own soda solution. Can you guess what it is? Orange Fanta. Orange Fanta was actually made by the Germans. And they had a ton of them shipped. A ton of Orange Fanta shipped to every German soldier had an Orange Fanta. It's one of the biggest things. And then eventually Fanta got a hold of that and then rebranded it. So then people didn't kind of really know what they were kind of doing. That they didn't, they did something horribly wrong. Same with Volkswagen. When the Volkswagen factory got bombed by Allies, basically what happened was it was taken away off the market. All the cars were taken off the market until the 1960s, where the Volkswagen Beetle was introduced to Americans. So technically speaking, yeah, you can kind of get where I'm coming. You can kind of get where I'm kind of coming with here. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, we got 4 minutes left, so we're gonna wrap up this video. I hope you enjoyed the little history lessons that I gave you, and just to let you know, all this stuff that you're gonna see is probably gonna be in Sniper Elite 5. There's gonna be flags with swastikas, but like I said, if you have a problem with it, don't comment something negative. Tell me what you didn't like about it. But if you do comment something negative, your comment will be removed, because I will not take any responsibility and I will not deal with it. So just FYI also, this is something I always found surprising. So every time I would record on Sniper Elite 5, I would always get reported for harassment and white supremacism and all that stupid shit. But yet, you see all these other YouTubers that play Call of Duty World War II with swastikas in it. And nothing happens to them. So why exactly is it okay for them to get away with it, but for me to not? You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be, that person, but I'm just generally confused. I would really like to know what that cause of it is, because honestly, like I said, I'm not going to take any responsibility. Like I said, if you don't like it, if you don't like what you're seeing, just leave the broadcast. Trust me, it'll be better off if you leave the broadcast and you don't come back until the broadcast, or at least until I broadcast a different game. Or if you're a big fan of American history, welcome. We're doing Sniper Elite 5. We're going to be playing the first mission of the game and stuff, going through the campaign again. And like I said, there's going to be some pretty amazing shots of war. There's going to be some amazing shots of American history related stuff, like planes and ships and all that kind of stuff. There's going to be references to D-Day of Normandy from World War II. And our first mission just so happens to take place in 1944. So there'll be tons of tanks and tons of just downright tons of battles and tons of amazing guns. Guns, snipers, the whole 9 yards. So I'm going to wrap it up here because we got 34 seconds left and we're almost done. So I will see you guys in the broadcast. Peace out.